always was taught that ethics means doing the right thing all the time, even when nobody's watching. But for me, it's really more of a spiritual issue, actually. In my faith in Christ, I really strive for it to direct my plan or how I treat people, really. First off, I'm so blessed to be able to work for Higginbotham, because really the heart of Higginbotham is giving back to our communities and really helping people. And there's, in all of our communities, there's so many hurting people that it's just so rewarding to really give back. And we started a foundation about 4 years ago that we've now raised $400,000 from our employees, and we give grants out back to our communities. And we have offices in like 22 locations now, so we're really giving back, money on the ground in the various communities. One thing that's really neat that I'm doing now is I'm on the board of the Chamber, and I'm on the Education and Talent Committee, and I'm just one person on a very large committee working with Drew Cheverly at the Chamber. But the whole point of that committee is to try to improve the education of our Central Texas kids in the public school system. Because really there's nothing more just, is there, than really providing someone an education, because then they can better themselves, they can become productive citizens and get jobs and provide for their families. So that's basically the job description, is to strive for justice, because not all kids or schools are created equally, and as far as the same opportunities. So, and that to me is a real mission, to try to provide a great education for everybody, no matter what school or what part of town or whatever.
Really, ethics is a reverence for life, and how you demonstrate that with everything you do, because I happen to think ethics is everywhere. That's not just limited to your personal life, your community, or your business life. It surrounds us. Practicing ethics in both personal and business life is not that difficult if you have your own true north, your own compass set properly. It's really not too much of a balancing act, if you will. But you do think about balance, because we have a set amount of time to devote to family, our career, our giving back. So for me, I go with some codes, if you will, of service. And in serving others, it's not just confined to one of those spaces. Again, it's all of these things. So with that, if you think about the work that I have done in Rotary, we go by some basic tenets that have to do with, is it good for all concerned? Is it fair? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And so when you practice that, it's not limited to either personal or business. Sometimes you know what ethics is, but you also have to know what it isn't. We know we don't want to follow that path. And so that's where a code of ethics, and that moral compass come in to play, is that I want to go back to my true north. I want to avoid those unethical practices and decisions.
Ethics for lawyers is pretty dominant in our lives. It can be very complex, but honestly, for me, it goes back to the simplest thing that my parents taught me. If you do unto others as you would have them do unto you, it's a pretty clear and powerful lens. I think that finding the right people to be in business with and to build things with is critically important to holding the center of your own ethical core. This firm has supported my community service, and to me, that's about contributing to the sustainability of our community on an ongoing basis. We've been very fortunate in Austin that people that came before us created a great foundation for the success that we experience today. If you think about it, But we still have challenges here today that we need to embrace as the leaders of this generation and to pass on a great community to tomorrow. It's really critical that we address one of the greatest challenges today, which is the growing poverty gap in our community. So working in the early childhood space, in a community that has more and more income eligible children is very important. And then, you know, frankly, we have an adult workforce that is not trained for the jobs of tomorrow. And we need to come back around and create the opportunity so that we can fill these wonderful jobs that are coming to Austin with our own people. And by doing those two things, tending to people at the beginning of their lives and then catching them on the back end to be sure that they have opportunity, that's what's going to start closing the poverty gap and create a sustainable, successful community for tomorrow.
Being recognized for an ethics award here at Breakthrough is really exciting just because we do a lot of tough work every day. And I feel that every day we're, you know, using and instilling respect and honesty and fairness into our students. Our mission is providing students that don't have an equal opportunity at graduating from high school and graduating from college, to give those students the same opportunity as students that come from school districts with high resources. We're taking students who have the same ability, who have the same potential, and we are helping them realize that ability and that potential.
We're there to educate, to inform, to empower our students and their parents to navigate this tricky process, to get into college and to survive and thrive there so that they can ultimately reach that goal of a college graduation. And what we like to say to students is a college education, a college degree, not only gives you good prospects for your future, good job opportunities, even further education opportunities, but it gives you choices in life that you may otherwise not have had you not gone in that path.
There are many different groups of people that make Breakthrough successful. There are students, families, staff, volunteers, board members, and other community donors. All of these groups play a role in making Breakthrough the ethical organization it is, and we hope that we honor and recognize all of these different constituencies. For our students, it's reflected in our core values. We have traits that we teach directly and model for our students about how to be successful adults and treat others with the respect and dignity they deserve. For our donors and for those that give to Breakthrough, it's by expressing gratitude and showing that we care deeply for the investment that others make in our organization. And for our staff, it's in the daily collaborative culture that we maintain here, that we honor people who are making the right decisions and on a daily basis that are difficult, helping students achieve their dreams.
Ethics to me means that it has to start first with the individual, but that we're committed to doing the right thing. You can never go wrong doing what's right. And so we're committed to doing what's right as an individual, and then as an agency, and then it carries over to the community as well. In our organization, we have a commitment to uncomfortable conversations and a commitment to transparency. I think that's the only way that you can have a true ethical situation. Because of that, we have surveys for our families, surveys for our volunteers, surveys for our staff. We have suggestion box. I mean, we are constantly seeking information. And we have a culture where if someone has a concern or a suggestion, it is an opportunity. It is not a negative thing. You have to have a commitment to transparency. So at ROC, our mission is to improve independence and life skills for individuals that come here in partnership with the horse. And so that's what we sell, and that's what we need to deliver. And so individuals come and partner with the horse, and the instructors here or the therapists set short-term and long-term goals with the families of what thing they would like to have develop in that individual to get to the next step in their life. And so the true impact of what we do is outside of ROC. But the horse is an amazing creature for partnering with whether it's a physical injury because the movement of the horse simulates normal walking, or whether it's an emotional lesson that somebody needs to learn if they've come back from Iraq and they have post-traumatic stress disorder. The horse, amazingly, is a great catalyst for change and for healing. And so here at Rock, as well as our mission, our vision is to be a trusted leader in our industry, in research, higher education, and in service.
To Sustainable Food Center, ethics is a moral compass. I mean, I feel like it's what governs our behavior, good and bad. And so when I think of the word ethics, it has to do with kind of that internal compass that is also the way that you work with folks externally. You know, this organization started 40 years ago as Austin Community Gardens, and a lot of what's been happening over the course of the last 40 years in this country are tied very directly to social justice issues, and we consider food justice one of the primary, if not the most important, social justice issue. It ties into poverty, and it ties into making sure that there's equal access for all. And so we've embraced that from the beginning. I think Sustainable Food Center was a bit ahead of its time 40 years ago when we were talking about a year-round growing season and how people can feed themselves year-round out of their own backyard or in the context of a community garden or a school garden. And now this movement has really gained momentum, you know, not only nationally but globally. We are about food justice. We want to make sure that every single person in Central Texas has access to food, cultural access, economic access, physical access. And is, you know, this isn't a foodie endeavor or a foodie movement. This is a movement to ensure that everyone is fed. So we're relieving hunger while we're also promoting sustainable agriculture. We're not a Band-Aid fix for hunger relief. We want to empower folks to feed themselves and their families long-term and to be self-sustaining and self-sufficient without needing the support of a Sustainable Food Center in the long run. Everything about our mission and everything about the work that we do is around food justice and sustainability at every level.
When we were presented with this opportunity to even be considered for this award, and now we've gotten to the finalist stage, I really like the fact that our employees know that Atchley & Associates has been recognized by people in the community as people who have high ethical standards. And I really hope that as they think about their association with us, to have some pride, and also it challenges them to their own high standards.
Being recognized for the Ethics in Small Business Award is just an incredible honor. It, to me, means that everything that we have strived for internally for years is emulating to the outside world, which is, to me, the ultimate compliment. I have worked a lot of places. I have been in the Air Force for 21 years. I had my own practice. And even through all of that, this is probably the best place that I have ever worked. And it's quite an honor to be here because of the way we behave and the way we deal with each other. It's one of the most respectful environments I've ever worked in.
Ethics means doing the right thing when no one's looking. It means making tough decisions seem really easy sometimes. Sometimes they feel tough, but you know deep down in what the right thing is to do, and you step up to the plate and do it regardless of what the consequences are. When this firm was started in 1999, we really did start it with an idea of core values being the basis of who we are. And it just, I think, confirms that we did the right thing starting with that as our basis, and that we've continued to live it, and that the community now recognizes us for having ethical behavior.
One of the ways that we demonstrate ethics is our sales process. We are in the business of selling insurance products to the public, and instead of being mainly concerned with just making the sale, we're going to be most interested in listening and then educating that client, and then advising them. As we continue through the sales process and we get more into the detail, we really become educators, because we want the insured not to just do what we say or make that decision based on what we're telling them. And sometimes we are advising those clients options that don't include us and perhaps aren't the best economic position for our company, but it's what's best for them.
One of my coworkers and I had recently proposed a policy to one of our current clients for something that they didn't have, a coverage that they didn't have, and we should have caught it before, but while we were going through this proposal with them, we caught a little exclusion towards the end that kind of, it made their policy not what they needed. We could have easily just kind of ignored it and gone on, and it probably wouldn't even have been a big deal later on, but you know, it was there. We had to point it out, and we had to go back to the drawing board, and we had to sacrifice that sale and kind of start all over with that client. But I mean, we have to be honest, that's important, so.
Ethics in the context of my day-to-day work, the first thing that it means is full disclosure. I'm helping employers find employee benefits for their employees, who are their most valuable resource. And the employer wants to know and needs to know all the ins and outs of how to put that plan in place, and needs to know all the options. So full disclosure is a real part of what we do every day.
To me, ethics means living the right way. It's hard to describe. When we were nominated for this award, it's the kind of thing you don't really think about, but when you're nominated, you start really pondering, what does ethics mean? In our business, we often say that we don't look for projects, we look for clients. And we build relationships more than we build buildings. Very frequently, we will have clients who ask us to do things that are over and above a prescribed scope of service. But very frequently, because of our relationship, they'll ask us for things that are kind of on the periphery of what we do as architects and interior designers, whether it's to help them with fundraising, or to make a presentation to their board, or to show up at an event. We always honor those, because in doing so we honor the relationship.
I think the way that people in business that are ethical businesses, the way that we recognize other businesses is that we use other businesses that are ethical, that we work together, and we feed off of each other. We have 90% of our clients are repeat clients, and they recognize us because we're ethical. We treat our clients well, and we treat our employees well, and all of our clients recognize that. Everyone should be recognized for that, because it's the only way you should be running your business. And if you're not running your business that way, then shut it, because it's the only way we should be running our businesses.
Our ethical practices and beliefs are exhibited through our core values here at BuildASign, and we use them on a daily basis, and we use them in all of our review processes and in all of our decision making at every level of the company. We have signposts, which we use as an indication of stakeholder values as well, and so every decision that we make across the board, we're always asking, how does this impact the community? How does this impact the character of the team members that we're working with? How does this impact our desire to go out and challenge ourselves and improve ourselves and better the environment and the individuals that we work with at every level? Most awards focus really on accomplishments from a technical perspective, but really one of the most important things, if not the most important thing, are the values of a business. And having an award that's focused on that and recognizing companies for achievement in that area is awesome. One of the great things about working at BuildASign is the focus that we put on combining a lot of different values into the projects that we work on, and trying to figure out how do we achieve our business goals while at the same time achieving all of our ethical standards as well. And so one of the projects that we've recently gotten to work on is taking the waste that's produced in our banner printing process, partnering with a local sustainability company that produces tote bags out of that waste, out of that vinyl. And then we have those products actually manufactured and assembled by a local nonprofit that employs refugee women and then sold in sustainability stores throughout the country. And so being able to engage in projects like that that take advantage of our products, our talent, our time, our focus, and leveraging all of these different really interesting and synergistic ways across the board with other organizations is one of the really neat things we get to see when we combine innovation and ethics together.
What ethics means to me is the age-old principle that we've heard from the time we enter grade school, that you treat others the way you want to be treated. It's important to us as a company. As the person in charge of the operations team, our customers are not only external, but also our employees. And everything that we do every day, it really is as simple as just thinking through, if this were me, if I were on the other end of this, how would I want this to be handled? And the fact that we're being recognized today means that it's still important and that the work that we do, the effort that we put into taking care of people matters.
You probably noticed on your way in the building today that we've got stones out there, and it's based on David and Goliath. These are the 5 stones we're going to take to battle. So before we had a mission statement, we had these stones. We've got faith, quality, innovation, passion, and integrity is one of those stones. And so that speaks directly to the ethics of this company, and that we always hold ourselves to the utmost standards. I think finding unbiased news today is rare. If it was not fair, quality news, people wouldn't hang on to it. They trust us, and we take that very sincerely.
You know, before Community Impact Newspaper started, there was this idea in the newspaper industry that the insiders were the ones who got to know the information first, and it's gotten even worse as the industry has evolved. It's becoming more expensive to pay for news, and I love the fact that our newspaper's mission is that everyone deserves to know what's happening in their own backyard. And to me, that's just, that's fair. Why is it just the people who have enough money or just the insiders? Why are they the ones that get to know whether or not a big development's coming behind their backyard? We think that everyone deserves to know this information, and it's part of the higher, we think, a moral authority that as a company that we have in our mission to inform citizens about what's happening around them.
What ethics basically means to me, I think you start with the golden rule. Everything grows from that. So do unto others if you would have them do to you. And IBM as a company has taken that concept and developed 3 core values that are advocated by all of the executives here. So those 3 values are dedication to a client's success, and innovation that matters to the world, and then trust and personal responsibility in every relationship.
To me, ethics mean being fair, being just in how we behave, make sure that we have trust in our relationship with our customers, within each other. And one of the things that IBM has is we have these values, and one of them is the trust and personal responsibility on all our relationships. So being ethical is part of that trust that we have in our relationships with others.
When I think about my daily life, or I think about my interchange with people around me, I'm always thinking about respect for the individual. It just comes down to this protege-mentor relationship path. So the story I want to tell you today about mentoring happened to me just over a decade ago. I was in the airport sitting with a very esteemed professor of computer science, and while we were just sitting there waiting for an airplane, Dr. Brown asked me, he said, "Scott, what's your legacy at IBM?" And I started to tell him about all of the accomplishments that I'd had, all the successes that I had, everything I'd built at IBM, and he quickly cut me off. And he said to me, "Scott, you could build a building, and in 60 years the building will become a slum and be torn down." And I realized what he was teaching me was that the legacy is in the people that you leave. Mentoring of people, getting them forward, and helping the organizational capacity grow, the corporation, by making these people better than they would have been if I didn't help them.